Okay. I'd like to call the Finance and Budget Committee to order. And let's see, first item is a motion to approve the minutes from last month. Moved by Supervisor Strauss, seconded by Supervisor Geraci. Any additions, corrections? Call the question, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Next item is public comment. Privilege of the floor. Anyone from the committee or anybody else? Okay. Action agenda. There's no transfers requested this month. Number 2 is requests and items to be discussed by the county administrator, Mr. Tadford.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Item 2A, the journal report of transfers. There are a few on there that kind of stand out. D5110-465, road bridge materials, $30,000 to D110470. That's to buy asphalt. As you know, asphalt has gotten very expensive. It's like $150 a ton right now or more. So that's been pretty challenging. We had also there were a number of transfers in social services that amount to about $90,000 and go into A6123-470. And this is a system adjustment. It's issue with a delinquent child. They were paying it out of different accounts than the state. They're now usually paying it out of this account. So they're transferring the money to cover it out of that account. It's A3150-470 to A3150-410. Those are for jail supplies. And I believe I've covered all the rest. Are there any questions? Okay, thank you. Item 2B is a request to introduce a proposed local law number 4 of 2025 entitled "A Local Law to Authorize Overriding the Property Tax Levy Limit Established by General Municipal Law, Section 3C for the 2026 Warren County budget and authorizing a public hearing thereon." So this is to introduce the local law to exceed the tax cap. Every year, you know, general tax cap is 2%. The equivalent rate for us is 2.63%. We talked about that in the Finance Committee. I'll review just a little bit. We have about $1.3 million in the budget to hit the tax cap. We have $1.9 million covered in just the Office 365 subscription, $865,000 for pension fund, another $800,000 and so for healthcare. So we basically, if everything else stays the same in our budget, we exceed the tax cap. And on top of that, we have a $2 million increase required for the CSEA, the Alliance, and the Teamster negotiations we've made. So the budget is currently, doesn't mean we're going to go over the tax cap. All this does is we have to get this in place so to give ourselves permission. You know, Frank's looking at, the budget officer's looking at cuts that we want to make. County administrator, treasurer's office is also looking at maybe ways we can save funding and do something creative to try to keep the amount we might have to go above the tax cap to a bare minimum. Our primary goal is to not be able to do that, but we do have a special board meeting scheduled. We're not familiar with doing this. We should have thought about it. You know, last year was our first year and we kind of made our way through that and we didn't have the deadline down exactly. So we're going to have a special board meeting on Monday, October 6th to so we can announce the public hearing that we'll have so that we can vote on it by the October 17th board meeting.
Someone, want to introduce this? Supervisor Mayday, seconded by Supervisor Cito. Questions or discussion? You have an optimistic viewpoint.
Thank you, Mr. Budget Officer.
All right, if there's no other discussion or questions, I'll call the question on 2B. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Okay.
Thank you. Item 2C, request to transfer funds in the amount of $2,400 from budget code A 1011 admin and fiscal services salary to budget code A 1011-410 supplies to cover the cost of additional supply costs associated with cap court and to replenish supply code used for unanticipated costs in our mail room, as well as an additional printing device for the county treasurer's office.
Here to 2C, moved by Supervisor Stroud, seconded by Supervisor Driscoll. Any discussion? I'll call the question on 2C. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, 2D.
Item 2, I'd like to take item 2D and 2E together. This is a transfer of funds of 1656 for one in social services and another 644 from budget code A 896 vehicle reserves to budget code 6010-230.1 automotive equipment reserve to cover the costs associated with the purchase of a replacement vehicle for the Department of Social Services. Bottom line on this is we had a vehicle we were going to trade in for a new vehicle for social services. The trade we were going to get was $2,300. But we kept driving the vehicle and all of a sudden the check engine light came on. And with a check engine light, we'd have to either repair that at a cost that would exceed what we would get for the trade-in, or come up with an amount to cover the trade-in. And that's what we're doing, moving this fund to cover the cost of the trade, and then we'll take this vehicle and just sell it on auction. Yes.
Introduced by Supervisor Raji. This is 2D and E, seconded by Supervisor Driscoll. Any discussion? Call the question on 2D and E. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Carried.
Item 2F is a request to authorize early closing of county offices at 2:00 p.m. on December 24th, Christmas Eve, and December 31st, New Year's Eve. We have done this in the past. We're bringing this forward because we've always kind of brought this later in the year, and it causes issues trying to make sure we have all the timekeeping rules straight and everything associated with this. So we'd like to get this approved earlier.
2F, introduced by Supervisor Stroud, seconded by Supervisor Mayday. Any discussion on those? That item?
May I ask that we just flush that out in one simple way, because I'm aware of some issues that have come up in the last few years, which would be to add to that, and to pay time to county employees based on their regularly scheduled work hours after 2 p.m. through the end of their scheduled workday, so that it's clear that what the board is approving is the payment to the employees for the remaining of their workday, regularly scheduled workdays as of 2 p.m. on. Does that make sense? Because that tends to be the issue, is paying for the unworked time.
Joey, are you okay with that?
Yeah.
Yes.
Another issue's come to my attention in past years, and that's individuals within the same department who may start at 8 a.m. and a person sitting at the desk next to them starts at 9 o'clock. So how do you rectify that situation?
My legal recommendation only is that you don't. That
Okay,
their regular scheduled workday is their regular scheduled workday.
okay,
And that as of 2 p.m., if the county is closing, the board is approving payment for whatever the balance of the workday is for the employees as of 2 p.m.
I mean, it's 1 hour, you know.
That's what
in
we
a year,
recommended
yeah,
last
Yeah,
year. Sometimes that causes consternation among a few, but not many.
okay, great, thanks.
Any other discussion on 2F? Call the question, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. G,
Item 2G, request to amend resolution number 139 of 2024 to delete blanket authority to sign contracts provided to the Commissioner of the Department of Social Services and the Director of Public Health Patient Services as state law required to the Chair of the Board to execute contracts. Larry mentioned this in his discussion in the Personnel Committee. So this is, with this resolution, we will have all contracts signed by the Chair of the Board.
Except those by the Department of Public Works, which by statute, the superintendent's authorized to sign. But this is changing, this was amending the purchasing policy, which is a companion resolution to the resolution that went through health, human services for the DSS commission, or from the DSS commission.
introduced by Supervisor Mayday. Seconded by Supervisor Stroud. Any discussion on that item? Call the question on 2G, all in favor? Aye, opposed? Okay, 2H.
2H, request to enter into an intermunicipal agreement with Saratoga County for communication site license to install emergency telecommunications equipment at the Warren County Municipal Center to enhance public safety and foster the goals of the Adirondack Regional Interoperable Communication Consortium, ARICC. This is to enhance our public safety and increase the interoperability between us and neighboring counties. So this,
Introduced by Supervisor Dirachi and seconded by Supervisor Merlino. Any discussion on this intermunicipal agreement?
thank you.
Hearing none, I'll call the question on 2H. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay. Aye.
Item 2I, request to amend resolution 199 of 2025 to remove the minimum selling price related to the property located at Sanford Street owned by Sudi Adirondack. This is the Crockwell Pond property. When they first came to us, they said they had an appraisal of $100,000, and so we wrote the resolution that said you need to sell it for $100,000 or better. And they got an offer of like $5,000, I believe. And then they're doing another appraisal because they realized that appraisal was probably not correct. It's just a pond. It's at the corner of Sanford Road and another road, I think. So what we're saying is they can sell it for whatever amount they deem appropriate.
They get another appraisal.
They're getting another appraisal. It's not complete yet.
Introduced by Supervisor Stroud, seconded by Supervisor Mayday. Any questions? Call the question on 2I, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. Hey,
Item 2J is on behalf of Fire Prevention and Building Code Enforcement, request to transfer funds in the amount of $4,000 from budget code A 1990-469 contingent account to the budget code A 3620-441 building and fire codes. This is to cover the cost of repairing a vehicle. I believe we talked about it. It had a transmission issue and it needed to be repaired.
introduced by Supervisor Driscoll, seconded by Supervisor Costito. Any discussion on 2J? None, I'll call the question, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. A,
Item two K, on behalf of the Sheriff's Office, request to amend the 2025 Warren County budget in the amount of 1.515197 million to reflect receipt of funding from the New York State Homeland Security and Emergency Services Next Gen 911 grant program. This is a grant that helps our 911 communications.
introduced by Supervisor Dirachi, seconded by Supervisor Molino. Good discussion. They're gonna cover the whole cost of it, do you think?
I think, yeah, most of it.
Call the question on two K, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried, and lastly is the review of the administrator's budget.
All right, thanks, Mr. Chair. County Administrator A 1011, the budget's gone up $16,000. Primarily because of, the subscriptions cost increased by 2368. Retirement cost increased by 5604. Our hospitalization or healthcare increased by 5829. And retiree hospitalization 1345, that's over 15,000, and the rest were just basic supplies and increased cost for office supplies. On the mailroom 1670, that increased primarily for increased costs in supplies and also for the subscription cost, that was $320. And for the print shop, that actually went down a little bit. We were able to save some money on that. And the last is A 4530. That's public nursing home. That's basically Westmount. That's gone by $10,000. And that'll continue to decrease as this is the retiree costs associated with Westmount, and as some of the age off.
Any questions on the administrator's budget? Ready? We'll move on to number 3, and this is items to be discussed by the county treasurer. Okay, is the August budget variance analysis.
Good morning, thank you. So I'm hoping you had a chance to read it. The only thing I'd really like to go through with you is just so everybody understands where we are with the unappropriated general fund balance. As of August 31st, we were at 1.3 million. Since then, we've had 226 come out from DSS with Medicaid, so it's going down a little bit. But reducing, sorry. So that's where we are. Potential opportunities go forward. Monica, I think also Rob Lynch came up with this. We're just looking at the general fund balances across all of our funds. Again, by law, it's 17% for the general fund, which represents approximately 2 months of operating expenses. And then we have 2 informal amounts, 5% on county roads and machinery. So again, just looking at that, considering it, seeing what we can do there, if anything. The other thing that I'd like to do go forward, and we've done that really well, and Tammy and the administrator's office and Monica, we are working with the departments kind of more real time to see when they're going to hit either contingency or general fund. We are working with them kind of to see where they may have other opportunities within their budget, so that we don't hit further unless absolutely necessary. That's about it. The other potential risks that we continue to look at, again, I know DSS has a potential safety net unexpected overage of about 800. Again, and that's the one that we've just looked at with Tammy and with DSS, and they came up with a very They came up with a solution. Now, and then the other thing that is still out is unbudgeted overtime and mental health costs, if they hit again. Any other questions?
One, when in maybe 2026 will we receive or hear about numbers from Cash Fest as far as?
So, yeah, so Cash Vest, we are meeting with them next Friday, the 10th, and they are giving us their initial analysis. I didn't budget it, but as you may recall from their initial presentation.
Yeah.
For the $45,000 analysis fee, there's upwards to $1 to $1.5 million of increased interest income. So we will see that first pass next Friday. They have already told us about one line item, one cash item where we're getting significantly reduced interest, where we can make a lot more money. That accounts for about 600. So if that's the case, I think we're
Good.
gonna be talking to these guys. I don't know if you want to, again, I think next week by the 10th, we may have a little more information that we might be able to put something in for the 2026 budget from an increased revenue.
Good.
And again, that was potentially
Nice
1 to
Christmas
1.5. I'm trying.
Thanks.
Good, thanks.
Let's see. The next, are we good with that? Sorry, you guys.
Everybody okay? 3B.
3B. Oh, can I go back to 3A just for a second? I wanted to just let you know, last year, Kevin, you did a great job with some overdue claims that the state was just sitting on and not processing. So we've started doing a claim analysis, and I just want to let you know that I think we're in good shape. In fact, the most outstanding 2018, 2019, 2021, 22 represents about 8% of our balance. And we just found out today that the DPW is going to receive some funds from 2018 and 2019 and 2020. So they're coming in. So I don't think we have the risk here that I was concerned about. Okay, that's 3A. 3B. 3B. Okay, this was something I brought up and I wanted to discuss. And this is a huge sigh of relief for me. And thanks to Dan and Monica for working through this with me in our property tax system. I'm used to systems being integrated all the way through automation. We had about $3 million in our property tax system that we were expecting. And my concern was they were very, very old, 1994 to 2024. It went over the years. About $1 million is in bankruptcy that we're working with Larry to make sure we're getting as much as we can. There was another $1 million approximately with foreclosures that we did not stop booking taxes on. I mean, they're foreclosed. And then there was about $1 million in environmental concerns. And if you may remember, the other day, we asked for, with the environmental concerns, we asked for something called a certificate of exemption. So because we're not going to get taxes on those, all we have to do is go back to the towns and get them. And we're working on that and we'll continue to do that. But the real aha moment for me is that the tax system doesn't tie into automatically the financial system. So we do not have any exposure from a financial perspective. So, and go forward, however, that's the next automation, is automating the tax system and upgrading it and optimizing it. It will link directly into the financial systems. So reducing manual effort, reducing concerns like this, and making sure that we're all in sync on a real-time basis. That was, any questions? That was a big relief. 3C is something I'm just going to give you a high level on. 3C is our new time management system, our time management system. I'd like to propose a very, it's just a change management strategy. It's not meant to be over-engineered. But what I want to do is request support of all of the committees and key people on the committees, maybe the chairs, that we give you updates as we go along, just so that you know we're all on track, et cetera. But more importantly, so you guys would be the steering committee and you would be the last, if we couldn't come to an agreement, you guys would be the last source of decision making. But really, it's the executive team, which would be all of the key department, or well, the key departments that are a little tricky. So we have the sheriff, DPW has like one little oddity. It would be the nursing home, basically everybody who sat through the RFP process and decided on, Tammy would be in as well, that decided on this UKG Hayes system. And what I want to do with that executive committee is at key stage gates all along the way. So the designs, this is going to work for the sheriff, this is going to work for DPW, this is going to work for Countryside, DSS, et cetera. At every key milestone, I want the executive committee to sign off on it so that when we get to the end, the full implementation, there's no surprises. There's no like, wow, this isn't going to work for us. Basically, we're getting everybody's input and commitment at every key stage of the process so that it's going to work without, it's going to work.
Makes sense.
Okay. And again, I can put that in a kind of a communication to you guys so that you understand your roles. But again, it's not meant to be any heavy lifting. And that's it. Any questions on that one? Okay, I think we're at the budget. I have my muscle back here just in case I don't remember something. So the budget, I'm going to stick to the highlights and I'm going to address any questions you may have. And then I'm just going to give you a quick brief. I'm going to give you a quick brief on the opportunities, or excuse me, the accomplishments this year, and more importantly, the goals next year. So high level for the treasurer's department that collects a lot of revenue. That's all of it, frankly. Sales tax. We are keeping sales tax at 2020. We want to be conservative because right now we're down 3%. This doesn't consider two factors that I'd like to bring your attention to. One, currently the budget officer is considering taking the 2024 actual numbers and increasing it by 2%. That's in his purview. That's his decision. However, what's not included in here is the STR sales tax, which is minimal, conservatively $1 million, potentially $1.5 million. I'd like to potentially include something in addition to this. So there's another $1 million, Cash Fest might be another $1 million. My concern is this New York state tax law is such a difficult transition. I have other words. That was being nice. Such a difficult transition, but New York State is getting their sales tax. So I do think we can put this in the budget because I do think we'll be getting it. We are getting it currently, are we not? In our sales tax, have we seen any STR upticks? I think we need to get the details. So I will get, you have to ask for it specifically by section, but I will make sure if we're receiving them already, because that's the sales tax, the new rule. But also now the platforms are supposed to get us the 4% and that's a mess. But we're hoping to get that resolved manually by year end, and our new system, our new integrated system go forward should work with the platforms giving us directly the 4% sales tax across the board. And the sticky wicket with them, just so you know, is that they're saying they're not going to give it to us because of privacy concerns and some storage data, something. But what we're going to do is we're going to put in our registrations go forward that anybody who has an STR with us signs off that the platforms, whomever they use, will give us whatever information we need. And so that should go away, go forward. Okay. Tax on adult use cannabis. This is interesting. Again, this is the first year that we're getting it, but I just saw another cannabis high rollers.
I want to ask you a question
Sure.
about sales tax. But we were up 1.4% through August in sales tax, correct?
Yeah, we've started.
We'll have it away. And that, for in 1 month, we went the other way in the 30 days of September, or just collections?
We weren't trending upwards, we were trending downwards, and then it started to pick up in July and August, but we started going the way that we wanted. So,
But now our sales tax collection is down a little bit compared to last. Did you say that, Christina? And then-
Yeah.
Did I?
In 2025, so far as in August, we're down 3%. Your point is, and sorry, I didn't speak to September.
Right,
We are seeing an uptick in September.
okay,
So we're hoping that continues because again, there's the lag in the, when we get it from the sales tax.
yeah,
What is it, a quarterly lag? Or monthly? Monthly.
Yeah.
So we should, if this is September, we should be getting August information. So September's uptick is based on August.
okay,
Okay, but June and July weren't maybe as high as
Right.
we would have liked.
Yep.
Tax on adult use cannabis, again, Queensberry. I just saw, I think it's called High Rollers, right next to a liquor store. So we're getting more and more of these dispensaries. Right now, we only have one in Warrensburg, one in Queensberry, and one in Glens Falls. And the one in Glens Falls has been the most mature. And they've actually been in place since November of last year. Queensberry has been in place since May, and Warrensburg's been in place since like the end of June. So we now have $87,000. And we can distribute that now because we're getting information from the Office of Cannabis Management. And we're projecting, because that's for two quarters, the $88,000. By doubling that amount, we feel that we can include $180,000 in revenue, and then we will distribute it. 75% goes out to the municipalities. The county keeps 25%. Occupancy tax administration, you guys all know that, that's standard operating 3%. The interesting thing here is that I will continue to look at this to see if we can, the law, the New York State sales tax law gives us the ability to charge platforms and the short-term rental owners a portion of our administration fees. Again, I'll get to that once we, start to walk. The only problem here is we've never charged STRs registration fees, but they are charged registration fees at the towns. So we want to be considerate of not overcharging them, but if I can get something out of the platforms, I will. Interest in earnings. Again, using a conservative approach, we decided to keep the interest revenue flat through 2026. We had a decline in our cash sweep account we had a lot of money that whatever we're not using, that we can make as much money as we can, it's at 5.1%. That's dropped now to 4.2. And because basically we got rid of all of our ARPA funds. ARPA funds are driving a lot of that. But again, here's where we have a potential cash vest upside. By next Friday, I'll basically talk to the budget officer and see if we can't put a realistic increase in revenue in this line. Tribal monies, we discussed earlier today. Looks like I'm going to the Mohawk Nation. Is that their name? Mohawk? So basically, we just got $107,000, but we haven't received money on this line in a number of years. So I think, if I find out something before the end of the budget process, maybe we can put something else in there, but right now although it looks like it might be for 2 quarters, my understanding was that didn't really give us any information. I'll look for that, Tammy. So if that's for 2 quarters, maybe we can put an estimate in there. So stay tuned on that one. Compassionate Care Act is continually decreasing. It decreased by 60,000, 24% decline from 24 and 24 from 23. The deal here is it's been steadily declining since 2020 because I think somebody else, I think it was Kevin Garrity, said they'll go wherever they can get it cheaper. So medical is the most expensive with the most taxes. Recreational has less taxes. And then we have some other smoke shops that are kind of dealing with it without the taxes. So that might be an opportunity. Tobacco settlement, we're decreasing the budget by 25%, again, due to steady decline. Vaping. Basically, people are going from smoking cigarettes to vaping. So hopefully, I hope not, but maybe we can get a vaping settlement nationally that will take up the balance. Expenditures, really quickly, we have a 5% uptick in the financial payroll system, kind of ongoing support costs. Travel education expense went up by 1,000. Because more people are going to training. Our contract actually decreased, our contracts line decreased by $4,000, 3,500. Primarily due to our actuary contract, which is in every other year. So that was last year, so we don't have it, where that was this year, we don't have it going forward for next year. Our annual audit increased by $1,200, and we're in a 5 of 6 year contract with them. Any questions? So quickly, I'll just give you the accomplishments, because the guys did a great year. They did a great job this year. Got another unqualified audit. We had a successful close of the 2024 fiscal year. We successfully all aligned across the county, everybody, that we will have one-time management system go forward. And we're all using time clocks to the best of our ability, where we need to. New York State STR sales tax, again, should culminate in 1.5. That's not really an accomplishment. That was a gimme. And we're, again, cash vest. We hope to see something. And the last thing, the hosted NISAC 56th annual finance school. They originally said it was going to be every year with us, and we were really excited. And then I heard it was going to be every other year. So I chatted up Steve Aquario, and we're back on for every year. So networking. And then also I'd like to really thank the departments for their, and the administrators team for a strong 2025 department head budget management across the county, where the guys are really looking internally first to leverage funds. Next year, 2026 goals, we want successful implementations, countywide time management, end-to-end occupancy tax portal, optimized and updated property tax system. That might be in 2026. And we're hoping to review ROI and get some good returns on ROI next year with CashFest, excuse me. We are going to then look at the back office accounting functions and optimize those. We're cross-training everyone in our department. We're continuing to focus on bench and succession planning and improved cash flow. Questions?
Very good. Any questions for the treasurer? Comments?
Thank you.
Thank you. Number 4 is referrals from the Criminal Justice, Public Safety, and Emergency Services Committee. And A is a request to amend the 2025 Warren County budget in the amount of $26,552. And this is to reflect receipt of a grant funding from New York State Governor's Traffic Safety Committee for police and traffic services. Introduced by Supervisor Mayday, seconded by Supervisor Geraci. Any questions? Call the question on 4A, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Period. 4B is a request to declare federal aid debt from 2013 to 2017 as bad debt, and authorize the county treasurer to write off the debt in the amount of $10,017.84. Introduced by Supervisor Mayday, seconded by Supervisor Cheryl. This must have been on the books and we're not going to receive it.
Can I just add, it is one of the things we spoke about in the budget variance report. So again, we have a very small risk, much smaller than I was expecting. This is 10,000. It was lost. It was very old, 2013. And then Lexi Deloria Real Estate came out with like $500 really old one because she didn't get credit for some training. But everything else, we've analyzed this entire claims process, and we're in a good spot.
Good. Any other discussion? I'll call the question on 4B. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Number 5 is let's see, 5A has been scratched out. 5B is workforce development. And it's a request to amend the 2025 Warren County budget in the amount of $5,000 to reflect receipt of a private donation to assist with funding a pilot training program to prepare local formerly incarcerated people for manufacturing jobs. Introduced by Supervisor Strahl. Seconded by Supervisor Driscoll. Any discussion? Yes.
As we've done in the past, if we know the name of the individual or business that that provided the donation, I know that, I'm sure that Liza's thanked them, but as a board, could we also do the same? I think we've done that in the past with,
Yeah.
yeah.
Good. Call the question on 5B. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Number 6. And this is referrals from the Environmental Concerns Real Property Tax Services Committee, Real Property Tax Services. And 6A is a request to authorize the county treasurer to remove funding in the amount of $438 that was submitted for reimbursement from New York State. Continuing the invitation of the Real Property Tax Services Director. And it's from Revenue Code A 1355-3040 from 2022 due to New York State indicating there were too many continuing education credits, so they could not provide reimbursement. All right. Introduced by Supervisor Cressito. We have a second. Supervisor Mayday. Call the question on 6A. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? 6B is a request to authorize the county treasurer as the tax enforcing officer to issue a certificate of prospective cancellation of taxes. It is on 1 foot that tax map parcel number 210.2-1-1.2, which would result in this parcel being exempt from future property taxes. Introduced by Supervisor Geraci. Seconded by Supervisor Cressito. Question? Question on 6B, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Carried. Number 7 is the referrals from the Health Services Committee. A is a request to amend the 2025 Warren County budget, the amount of $1,306.50 to reflect receipt of this year's portion of the infrastructure grant. Looks like we could do A, B, and C. B is also a request to amend the budget by an amount of $2,366, and this is from receipt of an additional one-time increase in funding for early intervention. And C is also amends the Warren County 2025 budget in the amount of $2,500. This is receipt of grant funding from the Governor's Traffic and Safety Committee for Child Passenger Car Seat Safety Program. So move on to 7AB.
I'll put forward A, B, C.
Okay. Moved by Supervisor Strahl, seconded by Supervisor Driscoll. Any questions on any of those programs? Call the question on 7A, B, and C. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. Number 8 is referral from the Human Services Committee. And this is the Department of Social Services, and it's a request to appropriate $225,880 from budget code A 909, general fund unappropriated surplus. And this is to A 6100-470, Medicaid, covered the county's share of the cost of Medicaid through the end of the year. Introduced by Supervisor Cressito, seconded by Supervisor Mayday. Questions?
This was a miscalculation.
that there was a miscalculation last year when we entered into the budget and said they missed this amount.
All right, any other discussion? I'll call the question on number 8. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Carried. Number 9 is referrals from the Park Operations and Management Committee. And let's see, this is payments to the Village of Lake George for maintenance at the Festival Ground. And it looks like for May 25, June, July. It's A, B, and C. So I think we could move all 3 of those.
Yeah, Frank, I would recommend you move all 3.
Okay.
Or 4, sorry.
Oh, four, yeah.
4. Yeah, 4 is for, probably for water, I guess.
That's true. That's water and sewer.
Yeah, we'll do 9, A, B, and C. And, let's see, A is, $3,097.21. B is $3197.84. C is $2,868.54. Here to introduce those, Supervisor Mayday, seconded by Supervisor Cressida. Any questions on them? They come from the deferred revenue Gaslight Village parking. I'll call the question on 9A, B, and C. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? 9D, this is a request to appropriate $5,600, also from the deferred revenue account for parking Village Gaslight Village parking fees. And this is to the Charles R. Wood Park for water, sewer, and taxes, and that's to cover the cost of paying the taxes to the Village of Lake George for Charles R. Wood Park for the remainder. Someone introduced by Supervisor Molino, seconded by Supervisor Mayday. Yes.
I just want to add on this one is, as I stated in Park O&M committee, this is a significant use of water for the parcel. So with that being said, I didn't want us to be delinquent in paying our bill. But on the same token, we might be asking for a credit back from the village because they have determined that there's a leak within the system and now they're trying to find the leak. So this is just to cover us, but then we would certainly request a credit back for the amount to pay the village. It's not our leak. It was caused by one of the vendors, we believe, probably with one of the tent stakes. So I just wanted to make you aware of that we didn't under budget this year. This was just an anomaly that there a leak happened to happen and we used almost twice as much water as we used last year.
Okay with that? Okay, call the question on 9D. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Number 10 is referrals from the Public Works Committee. This is Department of Public Works. Okay, A is requested decrease capital project H404 Quaker Road preservation in the town of Queensbury in the amount of $225,000. And I guess we could do B too, because that's a request, I assume, to move that same money to budget code 995910 transfers, capital projects.
That is correct.
Huh?
That is correct. And this was a savings in the Quaker Road project, and I discussed it in committee as well, is based on our overview of the project, we had some savings and we made some engineering decisions on the existing pipes that were on Quaker Road. They weren't removed and replaced, they were relined, which saved us a fair amount of money as well.
The one care to move to A and B. Moved by Supervisor Molino, seconded by Supervisor Mayday. Any questions? Call the question on 10A and B, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. 10C is requested increase capital project H421 Call Street and Prince Road Rehabilitation project in the town of Queensbury in the amount of $450,000. Introduced by Supervisor Mayday, seconded by Supervisor Merlino. Any questions on that? I'll call the question on 10C. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. Looks like the next three are increasing capital projects. D is capital project H425. It's the Adirondack Bridge and Beaver Pond Bridge replacement, town of Horicon, and out of $10,000. E is to increase the capital project H427 Olmstedville Road over Marshall Brook Culvert replacement in the town of Chester in the amount of $209,058.15. And F is a request to increase capital project H428 Bay Road over unnamed water court culvert replacement in the town of Queensbury in the amount of $80,000. Someone care to move D, E, and F? Supervisor Mayday, seconded by Supervisor Driscoll. Any questions on those three projects? Okay, I'll call a question on D, E, and F. Number 10, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Period. G is a request to establish a capital project H447 Smith Road over 13th Brook Bridge replacement in the town of Johnsburg in the amount of $15,000. Do H2, that's establishing capital project H448 Dix Avenue reconstruction in the town of Queensbury in the amount of $40,000. Moved by Supervisor Mayday, seconded by Supervisor Cressito. 10G and H. Any questions? Okay, I'll call the question on 10G and H. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. Finance Committee action is required on the following personnel agenda items contingent upon approval by the Personnel Committee. Items 3B, 4A, 5, and 7C. C 3B is a request for a transfer of funds in the amount of $44,098.36. And this is from the 1990 contingent account to budget code A 5630-470 CDTA contract. And this will cover the cost of paying the first and second quarter of the New York State Department of Transportation STOA local share cost to CDTA. Cover the anticipated costs for the third and fourth quarters of 2025. Moved by Supervisor Cressito, seconded by Supervisor Mayday. Was this something that we didn't know about when we signed up for this? That's what I thought.
I didn't, everyone's looking at me. I didn't negotiate this. Yeah, this is a state statute.
Yeah, so, this is, we've gone back and forth about with this thing for an entire year. The Department of Transportation has been sending us letters saying we need to pay this amount. We've talked to the Department of Transportation, asked them for an invoice or where do we send it? And they say, oh no, you just pay it to CDTA. And apparently it is in a statute CDTA told us that this had been paid to the Department of Transportation by the city of Glens Falls for many years, ever since they had the Greater Glens Falls Transit. City of Glens Falls has said they've never paid any money to either CDTA or the Department of Transportation in this amount. And so between me and the county attorney and Amanda, yeah, bottom line is the county attorney believes it's a statute, we pay it, and it's just part of the deal that we did not know at the time we signed up for the deal.
Because this relationship isn't governed by a contract that was negotiated, it's governed by state law. So the whole arrangement with CDTA is governed by a series of state statutes that's in the public authorities law. This is under the transportation law, and it applies to any of the municipalities that are part of a regional, I forgot the term, but a regional transportation district, which now that we're members of CDTA, we're a member of. I don't provide legal advice to the city of Glens Falls, but I didn't believe that the Greater Glens Falls Transportation District qualified or was required to pay this fee based on the statutes in the transportation law of the state of New York, because they weren't a regional facility, transportation facility.
Yes, Supervisor Stroh.
My question. The Greater Glens Falls Transportation Council and the area included the town of Monroe and Hudson Falls and Port Edward in Washington County. How much are they contributing to this?
What?
The fee that we're being charged.
The county of
That was a Greater
Saratoga,
Glens Falls transportation fee. Why should Warren County be the only entity to burden this fee?
it's not.
Okay,
We're,
well, I've
we're
asked the
paying,
question
we're
before.
paying 2% of 100%, because that's the estimated amount of use that the county is currently receiving from CDTA for the current year. Saratoga has a percentage, Schenectady County has a percentage, Albany County, Rensselaer County, Montgomery County, each county that's a member of CDTA, based on a road coverage, there's a formula that's applied under the statute, which includes riders on the system, comes and gives you a percentage. So yeah, our percentage is the percentage of, that's estimated as the use that Warren County is receiving currently, which is between, I don't remember the number, but it's between 2 and 3%. Saratoga's is based on their usage, as with all the other counties.
That includes Moreau, because Moreau and the other communities that I mentioned were part of the Greater Glens Falls Transportation Council entity.
Yes, and the county of Saratoga has been, since its inception, paying this fee, because Saratoga is one of the 4 primary members.
Including the town of Moreau?
Well, the town of Monroe is in the county of Saratoga. So the
But
county of
it's part
Saratoga,
of the Greater Glens Falls Transportation Council.
oh, I understand.
Yeah,
But Saratoga County has always been paying this fee.
but
under-
did not include the town of Moreau. That was coming out of the Greater Glens Falls Transportation Council's.
I-
See, this is,
I
I've been
don't
trying to get to the
understand
bottom
how
of
to
that,
tell
I
them
think
to pay the question.
Administrator Tavlon.
We were aware of that at the time when we had initial discussions. And and I don't have all the percentages that the county attorney had highlighted, but the bottom line is we pay in order to join CDTA, we pay 0.25% of our additional mortgage tax. And that's the standard fee based on the number of mortgages we have, as do the other members of the other counties who are members of CDTA. So there was not a separate, even a way to have a separate arrangement with the town of South Glens Falls or Moreau. South Glens Falls was also part of the greater Glens Falls Transit Authority. The only exception that we have right now is the Hudson Falls line. So there is a stop at Hudson Falls that comes into Glens Falls. In discussions with Washington County and with the city of Glens Falls, the point was made that the vast majority of the people who ride that transit, that bus, are people who live in Washington County but work in primarily the city of Glens Falls or Queensbury. And so based on that, we didn't have a separate arrangement with Hudson Falls and or with Washington County in any way.
Yeah, so Washington County doesn't have to pay this special fee. Because, yeah, we all pay a certain percentage out of our mortgage tax. But this was above and beyond that. That's what drew my attention. And then I'm saying, oh, wait, is this being distributed fairly and in accord with the other entities that are benefiting from this? So I've always had a problem.
Supervisor Driscoll.
I was just gonna say, I think they also go to the municipal center, which is technically Fort Edward too. So. Right on the border.
Well, I think I disagreed with it last year and the year before. I can't see why Stony Creek, Lake Luzerne, even up to Warrensburg, I mean, we don't get this bus going through our town, we're paying for it.
Yeah, and it sounds like some places that are getting service aren't paid.
Yeah.
Need further review. All right, let's see, 11.3B is on the floor. Any other discussion, questions? I'll call the question, all in favor?
Aye.
I'm gonna oppose.
And opposed? Supervisor Molino and Supervisor Stroll. Okay, 11.4. And this is from the Information Technology Department, and it's request to appropriate $2,200 from the $895 Computer Reserve Fund. And it's to various department budget codes to cover the cost of purchasing computers and relieving equipment. Introduced by Supervisor Driscoll, seconded by Supervisor Tarachi. Any discussion on number 4? If not, I'll call the question. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? 11.5, and this is from the Criminal Justice, Public Safety and Emergency Services Committee, the Sheriff's Office. And he would like to request to amend the table of organization and salary schedule. And this is to create a new contingent position of communication officer number 1C. The annual salary would be $57,486 and to take effect on November 1st. By Supervisor Drachi, seconded by Supervisor Mayday. Any questions or discussion about that? Most of us were here for personnel. Call the question on 11.5. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? And the last one is a request from the county attorney's office. And this request for transfer of funds in the amount of $14,500 from the 1420 regular salaries to the 1420 part-time salaries. And this is to fund the casualty, fund the title of casualty and property risk management. Supervisor Mayday, seconded by Supervisor Molino. Any questions or discussion? Question on 11.7, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Other items from the committee? Privilege of the floor?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I just thought I won't take that much time. I thought I should address the fact that, as we know, the federal government is closed, because they didn't come to a budget agreement. I've canvassed all of the departments, and there's pretty good facts, frequently asked questions that have come out from NACO and also NISAC. Right now, the biggest effect would be potentially in the Department of Social Services and it's all gonna depend on how long this thing goes. So, if it goes beyond the end of October, we would have problems potentially with the supplemental nutrition assistance programs, SNAP, food stamps. We're good on funding through the end of the month of October. And OTDA, Office of Temporary Disability Affairs, state will give us guidance on that. Temporary assistance for needy families is tied to the funding extension. And first quarter payments cannot be issued right now. We're waiting for guidance from OTDA on the next steps associated with that. Social Services, they have a block grant that has access to new funding. That probably will be good through the end of this year, but will impact 2026. And welfare services, it's tied to the funding extension as well. So we might have some issues with child care services, child welfare services. So we're watching this right now. Like I say, they're probably, we have enough cash to cover the things that they need to cover for October, but it'll be a little challenge after that. So we'll just wait to see what the state's gonna do, and we'll see how long the government goes without a budget or continuing resolution. Thank you.
Yes.
All right, I forgot to tell you guys one thing regarding the budget. We do have two new positions we're asking for: junior account property taxes. Again, we're gonna automate that, and we need to get in compliance with our policies and procedures. And basically, we are unfunding a position in the front office in support of this. The other one is in the payroll department, a junior accountant. And what we're doing here is, they're responsible for the implementation of the new time management system. And all of the external auditor comments on time procedures and some of our deficiencies, we're basically making sure those are all addressed, reduced and or eradicated. And while this is not revenue generating, it is expense avoidance and taxpayer savings. And we are also not funding a position in that department to kind of help with the cost of this. Go forward next year, we're basically reevaluating all of the time, doing a time study, rebalancing workloads, and again, with all of this automation, hoping that there is some savings.
Good. Nothing else, motion to adjourn. Item Mayday, seconded by Supervisor Stroh, all in favor?
Aye.
Thank you, Mark. Thank you.
CDT. Nice weekend, everyone.
You been up tonight, Ben?